Assalamualaikum, my name is Sofia Bahira binti Yusof and my matric number is 13DDT 19F1183.
Hello everyone, I'm Kirtika, daughter of C.KRISHNAN, number matric 13DDT 19F1022. Let's learn about the principle of universal design. So there are 7 principles of universal design. The first is equitable use. The lever-handle useful for diverse abilities. And the second principle is flexibility in use. The lever-handle accommodates a wide range of individual preference and abilities. The third principle is simple and intuitive use. Use of the lever-handle is intuitive. And the fourth principle of universal design is perceptible information, which is people can use the lever handle regardless of ambient conditions of the user sensory abilities.
The fifth principle is tolerance for error. The lever handle does not have adverse consequences of unintended actions. For the sixth principle is low physical effort. The lever handle can be used efficiently and comfortably and with a minimum of fatigue. The last principle is size and space. The lever handle provides appropriate size and space for using regardless of the characteristic for the user.
Okay, this is the design for our sign in and sign up page. There is a space provided to fill up the email and password. So we implemented the keyboard, microphone and eye symbol as well. So the keyboard is used for people who are using other device than laptop. So it useful for them to type in their email account. Then microphone is it uses to user to say out their email and password rather than typing. It saves more time and easy to use. And eye symbol enables user to check the typing of password. The password will only show up while the mouse button is pressed. As soon as you release the button, the typing will disappear. Okay, so in this page we apply principle 1, equitable in use, which is it provides the same means of use for all users, identical whenever possible and equivalent when not. It avoids segregating and stigmatizing any users. Then, principle 2, flexibility in use. It provides choice in method of use. It accommodates right or left-handed access and use, and also it facilitates the user accuracy and precision. And also, principle 3, simple and intuitive use. It eliminates unnecessary complexity and also it is consistent with user expectation and institution.
For the main page of the email design we created that have principle 2 in it. First one are the gesture. The gesture are a form of non-verbal communication in which visible bodily actions are used from the user to communicate important messages. The second one is the keyboard. It is used for people who are using other devices than laptop, which don't have physical keyboard, for example, tablets, smartphone, and other keyboardless device. The third one is the handwriting. Use handwriting as a direct input to a touch screen, and then the handwriting the user makes will be interpreted as a text. Input is usually in the form of an image that is fed to a pattern recognition software or as a real-time recognition using a camera for optical scanning.
So this is the compose page for our email. So on left, there is a button for compose, inbox, draft, send, start and flag. Also, we implemented the keyboard, handwriting, auto-corrected, microphone, attachment and gesture. In this page, we apply all icons are displayed directly on the page for the use of user diversity. At the point, principle 3 is applied. Mode zoom in and zoom out is available for user depending on their comfort. Principle 7 also is applied. Then Principle 2, which is gesture, a form of non-verbal communication in which its visible bodily action are used to communicate important messages. Then keyboard, it is used for people who are using other devices than laptop, for example tablets, smartphones and other keyboard-less device. Then handwriting, use handwriting as a direct input to touchscreen and the interrupt this as text. Input is usually the form of an image that is fed a pattern software or as real-time reconnection using a camera for optical scanning. Then Principle 4 also is applied, which is attachment. Uses different modes: pictorial, verbal, tactile for redundant presentation for essential information. And Principle 6, microphone, eases the user to speak up the words they want to type and automatically self-written.
This is the main page of the SKE email we designed. For the sound interface, you can see the button of the microphone on the top right, which symbolizing the speech interface we put into the design itself. A speech interface is a software application that enables interaction between humans and voice-enabled applications, such as virtual assistants and voice assistants. Speech interfaces use and mimic human speech via speech recognition technology. And you guys will see the speech button on the top right corner will lit up as the user load the main page of the SKE email. It will lit up as the picture shown. The circle around the mic symbol will lit up, and the sound also will more be brightened to show that it lit up. User will get an option to use the speech recognition as they load the main page. The system voice will ask them, do you want to continue with the speech recognition? And then if the users choose to say yes, then the system will assist the user throughout all the experience on using the email by interacting the user's will. And if the user chooses to say no, then the speech button will turn off automatically. And supposedly, if the user decides to use the speech as their alternative way in using the email, then all the button or the component on the email page will be reachable just throughout the voice command of the user. For more information, the speech button also can use for the just minimal use, as for the searching the email on the search boards. They can search it with the speech button just using their voice, but other than that, they just click on the other component by simply manually and not using the voice itself. You can see this is the compass page of the email. We designed it. And for the sound interface, if the user already activate the speech button on the main page, as you can see earlier on the previous page of the email, which when the user tend to say yes to the speech recognition to use throughout the whole email experience, then the user also can use it on the compose page too with the voice. To know whether the speech button has been activated or not, on the compose page you can see it will be on the top right. The microphone symbol will appear with the sound to show that it is activated and can be used. The mic symbol in the chat box also can be used as for user to send a voice email instead of the email with just a text like the ordinary one. This speech button on the top right and in the chat box is kind of different because it is for different use. As for the speech on the top right, it is used to voice out any comment and also can use to write email, but it will be inserted as a text, not as a voice itself. But for the mic symbol on the chat box, it is to send an email with a voice a whole voice in it. That's the different things on it. Sound interface based on the 7 principles of universal design. We use the principle 2, which is the flexibility in use. The design accommodates a wide range of individual preferences and abilities. The design provides choices in methods of use, as the system gives an option for the user to use the speech recognition simply by asking the user, giving them the option to enable experiencing using the email to their preferences. Other than that, it also provides adaptability to the user space. As we all know, not all people can adapt to new things fast. It might get them more frustrated to use it. So, speech recognition is built for the convenient, preferable way for user to use it because talking is easier than typing. For the second one is the principle 3, which we use the simple and intuitive use. Use of the design is easy to understand regardless of the user's experience, knowledge, language skills, or current concentration level. It eliminates unnecessary complexity such as having to type a whole paragraph, especially if the user have a lot to type on, which can be changed just by voice out the command or the words they want. The design also to make sure it can be consistent with user expectation and intuition. By simply using the speech recognition, the user will find it more consistent just as they can talk out the same simple command or words to reach out what they want to do in the email page. Not only that, it also accommodates a wide range of literacy and language skills so that the user can use it even with different type of language skills on. The third one is the principle 4, perceptible information. The design communicates necessary information effectively to the user, regardless of ambient conditions or the user's sensory abilities. The design itself provides compatibility with a variety of techniques or devices used by people with sensory limitations. As the ordinary design only allows limited technique in using the application, this design applies more for any user with different conditions so that it can help them using the application more efficiently without burdening their abilities and condition. For the last one is the low physical effort. The design can be used efficiently and comfortably and with a minimum of fatigue because it allows users to maintain a neutral body position when they use the email application. It also minimizes the repetitive action, unlike the user who do not use the sound mode which they apply in the design of the application itself. The design indeed minimizes sustained physical effort for the user because they do not need to lift a finger in using the application.
Touch interface. A touch user interface is a computer pointing technology based upon the sense of touch, which is haptics. Whereas a graphical user interface relies upon the sense of sight. A touch user interface enables not only the sense of touch to innovate and activate computer-based function, it also allows the user, particularly those with visual impairment, an added level of interaction based upon tactic or braille input. So this is the main page of our email. So the user can swipe right or left for deleting an email or archiving an email. And also, the user can tap on a compose box to compose an email. Next, touch and hold. User can hold word that want to cut and then paste it. This touch and hold to reveal new option to select text editing to reposition a cursor. And also swipe up and down. User can swipe up and down to reveal box if want to insert documents or pictures. Or also user can use attachment button over there. Next is pinch. If user move and rotationally, it's expected that the object that's underneath the pinch would also rotate if that's something that's rotatable. And also fine control for zoom in and zoom out as well. So lastly, shake. It is a way to undo action. For example, if the user wrongly send messages to someone, the user can shake their phone to undo the action. Finally, touch in the interface based on 7 principles of universal design. So we implemented the principle 2, which is flexibility in use, and principle 7, which is size and space for approach use. So the action target is right-handed, left-handed or one-handed mobile user. For an example, double tap one-handed mobile user can find this beneficial. And also we implemented principle 3, simple and institutive use, which is it eliminates unnecessary complexity and also it is consistent with user expectation and institution. Then principle 4, which is attachment, uses different modes, pictorial, verbal and tactile for redundant presentation for essential information. Next, principle 5, tolerance of error, which is for an example in this email, it's a way to undo action. So if user have done something like move or document or send an email, the user can easily undo the action. And also principle 6, which is microphone, uses the user to speak up the word they want to use to type and automatically self-read them. And lastly, principle 7, size and space for approach use. Posture, for an example, pinch, if user move and rotationally, it expected that the object that underneath the pinch would also rotate if that's something that's rotatable. Next, handwriting recognition interface. Handwriting recognition, also known as handwriting text recognition, is the ability of a computer to receive and interpret intelligible handwritten input from sources such as paper document, photograph, touch screens and other devices. So there is an example of handwriting form and normal form. And user can add and remove the language for handwriting over a compose page. So at compose page, the user can press the pencil icon to type in your email address in your desired handwriting. Your email address will automatically change into computer system as sentence form. Which is that is the place to recognize handwriting. So the handwriting will change automatically into computer system sentence form. Explanation of how the usage of alternative mode would improve the design of the email application. Handwriting recognition. The rise of artificial intelligence technology along with machine and deep learning are opening almost limitless possibilities. Some people might find writing is easier than typing, so this alternative mode in email gives them a sense of comfort to write anything they want, and whatever they write can be identified by the computer system. For example, a person wants to send an important message to a friend, but the person does not enough time. This is where the alternative mode is going to be useful. So the person scribble down the messages he wants to send to the friend, and the computer system identify the scribble down and send the messages to the other friend is an understanding way. Easy, right? Handwriting recognition is based on 7 principles of universal design. First, we implemented the principle 2, which is flexibility in use. This means the design accommodates a wide range of individual preferences and abilities. These alternative modes allows for the sizing up and down of text in your layouts. This will be very efficient to all users. And also principle 3, which is simple and institutive use. In this alternative mode, Principles simple and intuitive use have been implemented. In simple terms, to explain this principle is that easy to understand. So let's see how this principle have been implemented in this interface. Many people prefer writing instead of typing. These handwriting recognitions can detect anything regardless of language and writing style. This alternative mode makes people's life even easier. Based on this principle, this alternative mode eliminates unnecessary complexity. And also principle 7, size and space for approach and use. Well, the next principle that have been used in this alternative mode is size and space for approach and use. Explanation to this principle is appropriate size and space is provided for approach, reach, manipulation and use regardless of user's body size and posture. This alternative mode can be used by everyone. This handwriting recognition can be used by one-handed mobile user. That is because they can just scribble down what they want to send in email. Then the system will automatically change to its normal form and send the email. Also, this can be used in any posture because we don't know how users use it whether they are lying down on bed or sitting at the desk.
Gesture recognition. This is the main page of the previous email. Gesture recognition is an alternative user interface for providing real-time data to a computer. Instead of typing with keys or tapping on a touchscreen, a motion sensor perceives and interprets movement as the primary source of data input. These designs are made into the application specifically for the mute user because they use the hand signal, which will be easier for them to use the hand gesture mode. By enabling the hand gesture on the main page, the user will be able to use gesture of their hand to type out any word they want to. And to enable that, the hand gesture will work out if the user enable it on the top right corner button by clicking on it, because if they don't, it will not be censored because it will need to be censored of the motion gesture to be able to execute what the hand gesture command is being received. The user can use the hand gesture on the search boards to type out what they want to, and they just use out to type anything they want. Not only on the email page, the user also can use the hand gesture on the compose page on composing an email to another person. The hand gesture on the message board also works with the recipient and the subject box, which means if the user click the hand gesture symbol on the checkbox to type out the text they want, they also can text out on the recipient and the subject box. It will work out as the motion sensor receives the hand gesture command. Gesture recognition based on the 7 principles of universal design. First, the principle 1 is equitable use. As the name implies, the first principle is simply about providing an equal way for your users to access features and information. Avoid segregating any group of people because of personal restriction or device capabilities. Having high contrast helps both users with weak of technology. For example, if you first time using the email and you might be scared to click any button on it. So we create the gesture recognition to make the user familiar, like tapping left edge to back or cancel. For the second principle is the principle 3, which is the simple and intuitive. Use of the design is easy to understand, regardless of the user's experience, knowledge, and language skills, or current concentration level. Good design is often defined as being intuitive to the user, and the simpler the design is, the more likely users are to achieve their goals. For example, gesture recognition that we create easy to understand and remembered, and also easy to use, like if you to change the email address, you just swipe left or right. For the third principle is the principle 4, perceptible information. The design communicates necessary information effectively to the user, regardless of ambient condition or the user's sensory abilities. In the land of the internet, this principle is tightly coupled with the first principle, which is equitable use. Websites are by and large fancy ways of conveying information. The design communicates necessary information effectively to the user, regardless of ambient conditions or the user's sensory abilities, like twist your wrist once to sign in email. For the last principle is the principle 6, low physical effort. There are two aspects to this principle. The first is very literal. Don't require your users to go back and forth across the screen to complete a single workflow. The second aspect is more about mental fatigue and perceived difficulty on the task on the hand. Group actions together in specific area of the screen. This minimizes the amount of mouse dragging or thumb stretching needed, which is helpful for the user. It is especially helpful for users who want to have an easy access. For example, when you use email, you only twist your wrist twice and the email automatically sent.